So we'll start from Zhang. A brief introduction about yourself and what you do.
Sure. This is microphone. Yeah. Thank you. A little bit about myself. Let me see. Hello.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming to allow me to introduce myself. A little bit about I was getting a PhD in University of Cincinnati. After that, I was working for Pinterest on content understanding and app side. And also I was working for Alipay, cover risk management, also building some of growth platform and business products as well. And we started our project in more like the beginning of last year. Starting on annotating the account is more like identify who controlling a public account and what's the category of account. This information empower anti-money laundering and risk management. We started a project with Coinbase, Circle, a bunch of guys. And right now we are expanding the data sourcing and data labeling from the crypto vertical to different verticals, more like robotics and healthcare. Yeah, it's about us.
Hello guys, this is Chi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ZettaBlock. And a little bit about myself. Before ZettaBlock, I used to lead product management at a company called Databricks. It's up to one of the largest data and AI companies. And before that, I did my PhD from UC Berkeley, focused on machine learning and causal inference. So the more specific term is responsible AI or ethical AI. And ZettaBlock, we are basically building an open development platform for AI economy 3.0. What does that mean is we enable everybody to participate, collaborate, and get rewards for their contributions in this process. Specifically for developers, for example, they can actually prepare and process the data, and then use the data to train or fine-tune the model on top of us and treat those assets as something that can be monetizable.
Hey everyone, I'm Sean, co-founder and CEO of SaharaAI, also an associate professor at USC Computer Science working on AI. Been working on AI over 15 years, and then most recently, before starting Sahara, I was at USC working with my PhD students on things that to do with customizing large models towards different business and personal usage, making it more efficient, cost-effective, and help people build trust through privacy protection methods and so on. The drive for starting Sahara is seeing the economic balance between different stakeholders and players in the whole AI lifecycle, especially for AI model developers as well as the data contributors, including you and me, who are using AI, and in exchange of free access to AI capability, but then you are giving out a lot of user feedbacks and data and so on. So really, SaharaAI is focusing on creating this blockchain platform built for prioritizing AI sovereignty and also provenance. The really easy way to understand this is we're producing a sort of new copyright mechanisms that help you achieve revenue sharing through this whole provenance infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, so as we see decentralized AI industry, there's several sectors in there. There's decentralized training, decentralized inference, computing, and also agent applications as well. What do you see as the place for highest growth in the place, and where do you see as having more opportunities for the AI builders? Okay, so maybe let's start from Yi.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. I think the entire industry, we have to limit ourselves within the decentralized AI. It's more like we approach the problem like the entire AI. Maybe my opinion is biased because the problem I'm working on. I think the most important opportunities is more like utilize the crypto or as a tool to invite the expertise or experts or average people to providing data. The data about themselves or experts come in to review the data, provide some opinions. For example, the legal, there might be some legal case, they provide a legal opinion and associate with legal reasoning. The doctors, maybe they can jump in to provide some diagnosis regarding some pathologies problems. So this type of data is critical to upgrading the foundational model, which is becoming more reasonable, and reasoning ability and the thinking ability is improving, but they are lacking of the ability to addressing the domain problems. But once we plug in the frontier data in some domain, maybe we can upgrade it to become like a replacement or complementary to human expertise. So what I'm thinking is more like the opportunity is more like utilize the crypto, the decentralized, to invite the people from all of walks of life to contribute data.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, actually what Codatta is doing is very compatible to what we are doing, and we actually are working together to solve some great problems. And my personal opinion on greatest opportunity in AI is really, or crypto AI, is really to leverage blockchain as a delivery mechanism to empower this new economy. We call it the economy 3.0, which we believe the future of economy is actually going to be this AI economy. And in this process, how you can actually, one, align the incentive across those multiple stakeholders or participants, from data providers to like the model builders to agent builders to application builders about this process. And second of all, how you can even pay them in instant and fractional way. For example, we all know when we talk about data, everybody know like recently there's a lot of like lawsuit against foundation models about how the data should be their data is misused or like has been sold from the foundation model company, and then people are seeing like the big money paid to those like a data provider or the data companies. However, if you really break it down to like how many users, how many owners, the true users, like you and me, own those data, and then divided that by the amount that foundation model like OpenAI company pay those people is very small penny. It's like probably like you only got like 20 cents of that. But blockchain can really be a good solution to do that. So that's why I believe in blockchain really as a delivery mechanism to empower this mechanism, and data essentially to me is indeed like the most important thing compared to, I believe, in like GPU or models. I think foundation models or like customized models would be mainly in the future relying on those unique data patterns contributed from people.
Yeah, I'm going from trying to understand like different users that we're actually serving with the whole AI life cycle, right? There's three groups of users that we're particularly interested in. Number one is basically the AI model developers, and this group of people from Web3 mostly, I think they are really struggling with having access to resources, especially data and compute, as well as they are not able to quickly raise capital to prototype their AI ideas. Now the bar of really prototyping AI models is so high because of the GPU cost per unit is so high these days. And this group of people, they're basically struggling with finding a quick channel to access data, compute, and also capital. And I think where a blockchain-based platform could provide to them is how, number one, how to help them create a new revenue model that doesn't require them to raise cash upfront to the extent that they can spend 6 months to 1 year to prototype idea, as well as how to find ways to collaborate with these different resource providers, like say a new way of working with compute providers like Together, IO.net, Ether, even NVIDIA, or working with a data provider, for example, Scale AI and so on. Right? If there's a mechanism we can do that in a trustless manner, which are bookkept by the blockchains, and then you can backtrace everything that has been done throughout the whole collaboration cycle, that would be great because the revenue sharing can just go through that flow in a backward direction to go back to every single participant. Right? So that's the first group. The second group is actually easier to understand, like basically the users of AI capability, the users of AI applications or AI model. And this group of users, I think the one big downside these days is like they are implicitly giving out a lot of their personal information when using this AI. For example, you upload PDFs, Excel sheet about your financial situation, about your emails, your text messages, in order to get more personalized experiences from these AI interactions. But then at the same time, you lose control of this personal information thrown away in exchange of nothing. Over time, for example, when GPT-5, which is pretty much this like along the same line of this O1 model from OpenAI, ramp up, it's basically aggregating tens of millions of personal users' experiences, the user feedbacks, the data they uploaded, to improve the model over time, until the point that your own job got impacted because they can automate most part of your jobs over time. So I think this group of users are really limited by having user control over the data, having user control over the feedbacks they give in the form of copyrights or IP down the world. And then really quickly about the third group of users are basically these application builders of AI who are using these AI endpoints of different models to power their application. They are really lacking a way to find a place that can quickly identify a wide range of diverse proprietary models. If you think about right now, the best examples you have probably are Hugging Face or GitHub on the Web2 sort of the world, but then those are not proprietary models because people usually wouldn't upload their most valuable proprietary model to a place that can open up all of the ways to the community. So I think creating such an ecosystem of high-value proprietary model with the protection of the copyrights of how these models was built and a revenue sharing mechanism to all of the model builders, all these things can power by blockchain platform. I think that's like a way we build a problem. Yeah.
Okay, so move on to the next question. Well, the use of token has been controversial, and also it blocks out a certain percentage of users. And we are also seeing, a lot of Web2 AI companies, AI giants, they are able to scale business without the use of token at all. So wondering, in your ecosystem, what's the use of token and what does it really facilitate in your ecosystem that you see as really crucial and essential that you have to use tokens?
Maybe I can leverage this microphone.
I think the term controversial definitely resonated my experience. That's why talking with my friends that in the traditional industrial, I mean Web2. And when talking with people, they are working in the AI, I talk about, okay, we use this type of way, building the loyalty models to share revenue from the model developer and channeling back to the data creator. Then, okay, sounds like a good idea, but why is use Web3? Since people, because in the Silicon Valley, most people think it's kind of scammy, and I couldn't give you a very good answer. It's more like, what I tell them, you can say, we launched our protocol at the beginning of April. Right now, we are nearly have 190 users. They are contributing data in some ways. Maybe I told them how much I have to spend in order to attract the user with cash in the Web2 model. That's the result. And also, when talking with my potential clients, when talking with them, okay, in the past, if I'm in the scale AI, I have to have the contract from you and have this funding to sponsor the labeler to contribute data. So there's a sequence. But right now, because we have experts from the healthcare, we have experts from the robotics, they know which data is valuable. So without this type of contract, which we can start right now to launch the campaign or bounty to ask them providing data and a max sizable amount of data to deliver the value. So that's more like an efficient way. And also people, they're like, okay, one-time payment is good, but we like the long-term recognition, particularly for the doctors. Then they do not care money, particularly the people, the doctors, they retire from the industrial, they have huge wealth to spend, and they don't care about the monetary reward. They care about, okay, if the company like OpenAI, the training the O2, utilize my data, I did the contribution, I recognize the acknowledgement. Okay, they like, okay, use the token as some way to represent my contribution is very important. So in sum, I think the token will deliver some of the results, which is more like a capital efficient. And also the token is more like a represent the ownership. You can use the blockchain to tracking the data creation, basically the lineage of the data to the model. That's very important to build a sustainable and even revolutionize the royalty model for the data creator. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents of opinion. I think Zhi and Xing maybe have more profound and comprehensive ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I think honestly, like Yi, Zhang, and I share a lot of like a common thoughts and consensus about why blockchain can be very useful for the AI economy. And just to double down on what you mentioned, I think we all know a blockchain or a crypto is indeed a very good way for user acquisition in the very beginning. You basically, instead of as a Web2 company, you build your all business on top of either you bootstrap by yourself or you raise a bunch of VC money. And then in the end, you and all those early investors will share the final outcome of the company, no matter it's being M&A, exited, or IPO. But no a community will have early access to this process. However, blockchain or a crypto Web3 company is split the table and say, in the very beginning, I'm going to share part of my ownership and revenue to the community as early contributors already. So that's incentivize people to participate and contribute to you more. So that is one of the things. But more importantly, I think from our own perspective, a solution we are building here as a, we start from the data piece. And what we really want to make it happen is we allow people to slice and dice and monetize their data, which means that's why token and blockchain solution is so important for us, because we need to enable this micropayments as fractional of a penny for you to get the rewards in an instant, but probably a small amount. But you can accumulate that from let's say if you are a contributor to Reddit data or a Twitter data. I know a lot of people, actually Lana is building a great data DAO solution, which later on they're going to give a talk later on. If you can have 10,000s of companies or startups using your data, then those fractional pennies will be accumulated to a lot of money. And I think token in this case is very important for us as a delivery method.
Yeah, I think there's two types of tokens we're talking about here, right? So we're talking about the infrastructure foundations tokens in Sahara Foundation. Their token will pretty much be basically value accrue of the infrastructure traffic, basically gas fees and also the platform fees that's supporting the whole ecosystem on top of it. But I think the really interesting part, to continue with my previous answer about giving capital and a fast track sort of way for the model developers to raise capital in order to prototype the idea. I think this new family of AI access that can be tokenized, models, data sets, endpoints, or model weights, right? These are different types of AI access. And the way we see this is we are building two ecosystems that are actually bridged with each other. The whole AI ecosystem is pretty much a replications with the tweak of incentivizations and proper blockchain bookkeeping mechanisms, the copyright part of it, of the AI lifecycle, starting from data collection, data labeling, to model fine-tuning or RAG, and then model serving, to model evaluation by community, to finally you get user feedback on the model endpoints, and then you start the loops iteratively. This is existing AI lifecycle with the problem I mentioned that there's not enough capital actually are able to inject into all different projects to start this whole life cycle, because it's so expensive to even get to the stage of start training a model these days. And I think the opportunity here is powered by the other ecosystem next to it, which is the DeFi ecosystem. And the bridge between these two are actually the AI access that can be tokenized, right? Say, if I'm a really reputed GitHub or Hugging Face contributor, that I decided to use my model development expertise to start creating some proprietary model based on some of your data, right? So you guys will be the data contributor, which you might decide to sell your data with a fixed amount of money, or you decided to sell your share, to take the share of the model you're gonna be contributing to in exchange with the data, your proprietary data. And then the model developer come in to develop models, and then you create a model endpoints. That model start being served to multiple different AI applications and monetized. There's a revenue comes in, this revenue gonna be shared across all of the participants. In this process, we start seeing the fundamental value of this AI access. For example, the community-driven model performance, right? You see the Treble Arena basically is a community vote across GPT-4 and a bunch of other models. And then you start seeing business usage and revenues for all these model endpoints. Those are also fundamental value, right? So similar to what we see on the stock market, everything has fundamental value, but then when you push them to the secondary market, in this case, the DeFi ecosystem, everything can be speculated, can be invested, right? Based on people's expectation and speculations of how these models will go up in the future, as well as how these model developers gonna evolve in the future, right? If I'm a consistently well-reputed, great model developers, I should get invested. My AI access on the secondary market should go up, and I will have more capital to develop the next version of my model. And that's where I see this token really start kicking in to have this like healthy flying wheel effects between the AI ecosystem and the DeFi ecosystem.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Okay, so besides the tokenomics, so we move on to the next question. What do you see as the biggest challenge for decentralized AI industry, and how do we solve this bottleneck in the short and long term to push decentralized AI forward?
Okay, I'm so fortunate to answer the question first. I think it is the problem normally very challenging, honestly speaking. I think from my standpoint, it's more like we have very good ideas. There are decentralized training, there are decentralized inference, and also there are end-to-end on-chain attribution from data creation to the model inference. And I think all are good attempts. But honestly speaking, as a guy who entering this industry like 2009, early 2009, we see the entire progress from the single hyper PC to the distributed training. Right now we are talking about decentralized training. The paradigm shifting from single machine to multiple machine, we see a lot of challenges, overhead management. Right now it's more like if we are talking about decentralized computing, I think the challenge is even greater. That's just not a magnitude difference, maybe 2 magnitude difference. So I think that one is very challenging, but we are wishing there will have a good outcome because that can improve the utilization of the some of the resource, maybe sitting in your personal computer. That's very good. But I think, in my opinion, it's more like the data one is the one I'm focusing on. It's more like there are huge pictures. We are talking about the data economy, but the picture is very large. We have to divide and conquer. We have to design deliverable path from the beginning point to the end point. There are a lot of trade-offs we have to make. And I think the most important challenge is more like create an end-to-end solution from the data creation to actually see the data creator receive revenue from what they created. I think that's the most important challenge, in my opinion. Yeah.
I think to us there's like the two biggest challenges, especially given that I come from like the Web2 and data infrastructure background. I felt, to be very frank, the first challenge is we need something usable. It's great to have all those like vision and mission to make things open, collaborative, and everybody make money. Everybody participate into this process, but from data collection piece, how to ensure the quality, to GPU participation, how you can really leverage those personal laptop core, or just the decentralized GPU training framework, how you can make it happen, to like the model training process, how to do like the decentralized way. A lot of things, I think it's really how we can balance the vision, long-term vision, and the short-term delivery mechanism to make something really able to use, so that we can really make the mainstream Web2 people, for example, we have to admit that we are minority compared to them. How to make them feel like we are delivering something real, not scam, not something that's fluffy. So I think that's the first challenge. And over the past 2.5 years, I see some improvement in the industry, but I also felt there's a lot of like things need to be more down to earth. And the second piece is, like Sean mentioned, actually I also want to double down on what he pointed out, how you can really make those participants, like the individual model builders who are lack of resources, access to compute, GPU, access to the data, to really have some mechanism to help them. No matter it's from crowdfunding, like Sean mentioned, crypto is a really good solution, or even like what we are proposing here. One of the solution is you track all those like ownership and provenance on chain, so that right now one of the actually we have like Web2 design partners who are building auto model, video model for their creators in their entertainment platform. What they are wanting to do is actually provide their data to the model builders who have the expertise to build a specialized video model for free in the beginning. But in return, what they can get is part of the model revenue share, and also when they use the model, they get discounts. But how you can approach that is actually through blockchain governance solution or like provenance solution. So I think that will be how you can use blockchain to solve those like resource access issue. Will also be a challenge, but we see something that probably can solve this.
Yeah, I think from two aspects, right? Technically speaking, I think the problem space that most excites me, which is far-reaching to be solved, is the trustless compute part. Basically, we have to push a lot of things off-chain these days for AI. Data cannot be on-chain because you have privacy. Models cannot be on-chain because you need the copyright and proprietary privaciness as well. So then with all these assumptions, all the constraints, you have to push a lot of things off-chain. Plus, like the blockchain wouldn't be able to take all this compute on-chain so far anyway. So when all these things become off-chain, then you need a lot of verification for proving what's been done is legit, and then you need a lot of also encryption things to make sure you don't need user privacy. So there's like a whole homomorphic encryption, zero knowledge proof. All these areas are still being explored and researched, but we are far from really using them today. I would say probably another 3 years to 5 years to really maturize to deal with the big models that we are actually using these days. So that's a big technical problem space I'd really love to invest. And then I think another big part of the problem is like a lot of projects are not really thinking about what's the pinpoints of the AI model developers and application builders. A lot of problems are come up with kind of artificial assumption that hey, we need to decentralize X, Y, Z, right? And because we can think about solution of decentralizing them doesn't mean necessarily people will use these solutions compared to the Web2 or centralized counterpart, right? So I feel like talking to these customers, the model developers, the users, and understand what will help them switch from the current cheaper, more efficient, more powerful solution to the decentralized version of it. I think that's a very important first step for many of our projects, including us, SaharaAI. We're doing a lot of these reflections and really strategizing of our product these days. Yeah.
Okay, right. So Sean, you mentioned about opportunities for AI modelers, enabled by Sahara. And so I understand that a lot of audience here are also AI builders. So this comes to the last question of our panel, which is there any niche areas or niche opportunities that you see in the industry that you would maybe advise AI modelers, AI builders to look further, and maybe some advice from you in terms of AI entrepreneurship in Web3.
Okay, I think how about let's start this question from Sean.
From Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I think model evaluation is a huge part. Like I said, a big problem about if you want to build a secondary market on top of the digitalized AI access, say model tokens, dataset tokens, then you first need to understand what's the anchor point of their value, right? And I don't think right now many of these model tokens and data tokens has a good reference of how valuable this access is, especially when you push an open source model to be tokenized. I don't really understand what that means because this open source model doesn't have a business model at all, right? They are just free for people to use. They are for open science. So I feel like we need a bunch of infrastructure and ecosystem projects around building up the fundamental value of this AI access, including a community-driven model evaluation.